Well, what a crazy month it has been. Let me tell you about it. So basically, I've been let's turn this light off because it's flashing at me. It's basically my mum went to visit my brother in hospital, and on the way there she was walking across the road, and where last summer it was really hot, or summer just gone, and the heavy traffic created sort of divots in the road, she walked over to catch the bus, tripped on one of the divots, cracked her head off the floor, busted her wrist and a couple of ribs. Here's a pic. Right, so basically I've been going back and forth with mum, going to the hospital, getting her checked out, getting that all sorted, and the only time I can do that is when I've got a day off, which is when I usually do my videos. So that's why I haven't been on the old YouTube as of late. So the good news is she's fine. She's a bit battered and bruised, but I'll be going chatting to the people at the council to see, to let them know that the road is in such a state that people of a certain age who are prone to these sort of things is quite a big risk for them. So I've let them know, and hopefully they will sort it out, and no more old people will bounce their head off the floor, which is always a good thing. Okay, so that's what I've been up to. It's been hectic, but it's all sorted now. On my Twitter page, someone called Quasi Biker, Quasi Biker, sent me an email saying, I saw your picture on Instagram of the new knife that you've got, and my little Columbia River knife that I've got from Henny Haynes. And I mentioned in there that I've got way too many, and this guy said, can we have a look at the knives that you got? Now, this isn't a very much biker related thing, but there's another guy, Bruce City Rider, who's also into knives, and he also said he would like to have a look. So just a little something for those two guys. If you're interested in this sort of thing, by all means stick around. If you're not, then you might want to turn off now, but I'm going to tell you what's coming up very soon, because I am back. Alright, so those of a certain age, my age group, 41, 42, 43, 44, thereabouts, there was a film that came out in the early 80s called First Blood, and it was the first in the series of the Rambo films. The first one is based off the book, so it's got a little bit more, it's slightly more based in reality and not gung-ho kind of big 80s, big explosions, one man against a million strong army, which is kind of what it turned into. But I still love them, it's the 80s. So there's a quite an iconic knife that appears in that film, the First Blood film. I'm going to show you that knife in a second, but before I do that, I'm going to show you a little clip of what I saw when I was, how old would I have been? 7 or 8, thereabouts, 6, 7 or 8. And I saw that film, and I shouldn't have seen it because it was an 18, and I was, just a kid at the time. But it had such a profound effect on me, not because of the violence that was in the film, and to be honest, it's not that bad. There's not a lot of blood and guts in it, but because this guy's knife and what it contained in the handle, and the fact that you can set traps with it, and it contained a compass and fishing line and hooks and matches and blah blah blah. I just thought, to have all that in a knife, it just mesmerised me, and I was sort of obsessed with it for ages. And I even said to my mum at the time, I said, Mum, will you buy me one of those knives? And thank God she never, because God knows what would have happened. But obviously she didn't get me one. Common sense prevailed on her part, and I'm very glad she didn't get me one when I was 8 or 9 years old. But she did get me this kind of plastic kind of copy that I got from a model shop. And yeah, I was just over the moon with it. But going ahead 20 odd years later, 25 years later, I said to myself, I'm going to treat myself to that knife as a little gift to my younger self, but with a bit more common sense. So have a look at this clip, and you probably would have seen it before. Have a look, you see what I mean.
I want you to book this gentleman for vagrancy, resisting arrest, carrying a concealed weapon. He says he uses it for hunting.
Hunting? What do you hunt? Elephant?
Just see if you can clean him up a little bit. All right, smells like an animal.
Get that call for me, please.
Hey, Mitch.
I could have killed them all. I could have killed you. I'm telling you the law. Out here, it's me. Don't push it. Don't push it. I'll give you a war you won't believe. Let it go. Let it go.
So basically, yeah, so like the guy said, can we have a look at your knife collection? Absolutely, mate, no problem. Now, the thing is with knives, and these days, certainly in the major cities, London especially, is they have got a very, very, very bad name. And it's unfair to the people that make these knives. I'm not talking about the sort of thing you pull out your kitchen drawer and spread butter with. I'm talking about knives that are in some cases handmade, made with love and affection and just superior craftsmanship, that are balanced and if looked after will not only last your lifetime but also your kids' lifetime. It is essentially a tool for life, and it's the oldest tool in the world. They find, what is it, what's that stone, oh man, what's it called, flint. They find flint that's been chopped and used as a cutting edge that is hundreds of thousands of years old. So this is just a kind of progression of that. That's all it is. And here they are. So this is just a few of them. I've got a couple more elsewhere, but these are the sort of core knives that I own and use. I've used them all apart from the Rambo ones, and I'll tell you that. I'll tell you the reason for that in a second. So basically, let's start from. Actually, let's have a look at the Rambo knife. Okay, so here it is in all its glory. Let's turn this light on so you can possibly see a little bit better. Leather sheath, simple little belt loop at the back. But this knife is an icon of the 80s. And the thing is, as good as it looks, it's not actually a very good tool. The reason being, the blade stops where the handle starts, so the blade stops there, so there's a weak point. If you're doing any sort of splintering of logs or anything like that, or any sort of heavy hacking, sooner or later that's where it's going to break, right there. But in terms of its design, I mean, it's absolutely beautiful. It's got a Phillips head there, a flat head there on the handle, and inside the handle it's got like this, it's like a very thin kind of cotton, almost like a paracord which runs around the handle. On the top there, unscrew it, it's got an O-ring, keep it waterproof. It's got a compass in there which doesn't work, which has been quite a common thing with these knives. And a little survival kit which includes some matches, a light, some fishing hooks, some fishing line, a little razor blade. So it's a good knife, but it's purely for show. You wouldn't want to. It wouldn't be my knife of choice if I was stuck out in the wilderness somewhere. This would not last very long, but it is a beautiful looking thing. And like I said, it's iconic of the 80s. If you type in 80s knife on Google Images, chances are this is the beauty that will come up. So that is that one. Now, the thing with the Rambo films is, the first one, excellent, almost feasible in many ways. Story of a Vietnam veteran coming back, not being accepted into society. I think that is probably a very true situation for a lot of those guys that came back. But after that, he started getting a little bit kind of, you know, big hair bands, and you know, it just got a little bit silly. So, bearing in mind, okay, that is a big knife, all right, too big. Rambo 2 comes along a few years later. Same again, leather sheath, belt hoop, and then all of a sudden, The blade is now this big, with a blacked out sort of central bit there. Same saw on the top, exactly the same thing. It's got a little sort of glass breaker thing at the top there, a little hole for a lanyard, anything like that. Phillips head, flat head, but just look at the size difference. I mean, you know, the 80s is well and truly underway. We are talking big everything. So yeah, so that's that one. So again, it's a beautiful knife. Not as iconic as the first one. The first one is definitely my favourite, but again, it's a big one. This comes off. Oops. Compass in the top there. Again, matches, striker, blah blah blah. So let's put that back in there. So you think, okay, well surely that's it. Surely Rambo 3, the knife cannot get any bigger. It cannot get any bigger than that. Oh boy, does it get bigger. Check out this beast. It's getting ridiculous now. It's getting so big it goes from being a sword to a knife to like a machete or something like that. So look at this, look. I mean, you know what this reminds me of? You remember that scene from Crocodile Dundee where the woman's getting mugged and he goes, "That's not a knife, this is a knife"? Well, it almost certainly is a knife.
You got a light, buddy?
Yeah, sure, kid. There you go.
And your wallet.
Nick, give him your wallet.
What for?
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
But like the previous two, the blade stops there. It's not a full tang. I've got a couple of full tang knives there, and I'll show you what that means. It's a beautiful knife, don't get me wrong. It's got a little Rambo inscription on the top there, and the maker's name, Gil Hibben. Beautiful knife, but let's compare that to the first one. I mean, 1983. What was this film? 1986. So it's gone from that to that. Crazy. But again, beautiful knives. Alright, so let's get back into knives that are more usable in the real world. And I will start with, there's a company called Mora, M-O-R-A, Mora Knives, and they've recently released this knife. Bearing in mind the size of this last one you just saw, this is more usable. Look at that. Now this is called the Mora Idris, I think it's called, or Ebris, something like that. What's the name of it again? Should stay on there. Anyway, made by Mora Knife. Beautiful little thing. The spine on top is what's the word for it? It's got a clean edge on the top there, so it's not painted, it's raw, which enables you to, if you have a striker, to do that. So you can strike on the edge, and you can see that I've been using it. It's quite it's been a well used knife, extremely sharp straight out of the box. Oh. That was terrifying. Yeah, really nice knife, really usable, great for kind of whittling on wood and sharpening stuff and just removing off little twigs and things like that. Lovely little knife, really nice. That's that one. Okay, so now we've got probably one of the most common knives in the world for bushcraft use, and one of the most toughest knives you could possibly get your hands on. This will, if looked after properly, will outlast you. It will outlast your grandkids even, if it's looked after. It is made by K-Bar, and it is called the BK16. It's a beautiful knife, lovely fat spine in it, great for splitting wood. Beautiful handle, hole at the top there for lanyard. Fantastic knife. If you're gonna get a knife, I would recommend this one. The size is perfect, the weight feels perfect, it's beautifully balanced, and it really does keep its edge, requires minimal maintenance. A little tip is, after you've used your knife and you've given it a clean, you want to put something called there that protects it from moisture. Now some people put oil on it, which is great, that will do the trick, but if you're going to cut food with it, it will taint your food. A good idea is to put something like olive oil on the blade as well. Just coat it in olive oil, don't have to go crazy, and it won't taint your food. So here's the sheath, super strong sheath. Comes with a little sharpening stone. Now I actually bought this out in Carmel, because back home they didn't have this colour sheath in it. They do the knife over here, but they didn't do the sheath in this particular colour, which I really like. So I bought that in Carmel and got it shipped over. That was about, what's it over here? These are about £120, so whatever that is in dollars. Again, beautiful knife, and probably the one, if I had to keep one knife, it probably would be that one. This is something that I picked up at a little boot sale. This guy was selling all sorts of memorabilia and World War II stuff, and he was selling this little, what's called a boot knife. Bladed on both sides, got an edge on both sides. It's not particularly good value. I mean, it's made in Taiwan, so it's not as good as it could be, and it's not particularly usable, but I like little oddities like this. I like little quirky things. That's that. Now this one. This again is probably one of the best knives you can possibly own if you're into bushcraft and things like that. Again, very simple design, nothing particularly special about it, but you will notice that the blade runs all the way through to the back. That is called a full tang knife. Again, it's been very heavily used. The top is ground, so it gives it that hard edge to use with a striker. I've got myself a Kydex sheath made by Apocalypse Gear, based out in America. Really good. Check those guys out if you want to get a custom made sheath done. Fits there perfect, as used by the Swedish Air Force, I believe. They carry these on them. Extremely sharp out the box. Probably the sharpest knife I've ever owned out of the box, and despite my best efforts, I have not been able to sharpen it up to how it was when it came out the box. It can shave your hair off no problem, like a razor blade. You don't have to put any pressure on it. Slices through paper no problem. Beautiful knife, built to last, great quality. There you go. There's the sheath as well. Really nice sheath with the little fire striker ferrocium rod built in the top there. What else we got? This is one that I got recently. I actually won this knife from a competition. It's quite similar to the K-bar. Very heavy duty. Look how thick that spine is on there. Lovely grip. Again, similar sort of thing, heavy duty, great for kind of chopping wood and a lot of kind of hacking work. Yeah, very nice knife, very heavy duty. Not used it yet. Again, comes with a diamond stone and a ferrocium rod with a striker on it as well. Very nice. And lastly, this again is a bit of an oddity, but I saw a review of it on a website and I really like the look of it. I like anything that's a little bit quirky and different. Now, this one's called the Vulture Cholera. You can tell the quality of it is exceptional, and that is reflected in the price. It is designed and built in the USA. They will ship it to pretty much anywhere in the world. Designed by William Egbert Jr., the Cholera Mark I. Very, very capable knife. Full tang, as you can see there. little lanyard hole and a little paracord thing there with a little fella on the end there. Very nice knife, and the ferrocium rod that comes with it, you can see that it's in 3 parts. The black part is the ferrocium rod, and it has 2 strips of magnesium. Basically what you do is you scrape off some magnesium filings and then scrape the ferrocium rod onto those filings, and they ignite very, very hot, and will give you a nice strong burn to get your tinder going. So that is a beautiful, beautiful thing, and that is roughly it. So that was for Quasi Biker and Bruce City Rider. I know you're a big fan of knives as well. That's for you, mate. I hope you enjoyed that. I've got to tell you about, I had this guy leave a comment on my YouTube channel the other day. I can't remember his name, and I don't want to give him any airtime anyway. So basically, do you remember the video I did of the cleaning the exhausts with the bleach? Well, it's not called bleach apparently, but anyway, the Harpic and the Optiglands and the Autosol. That's my most viewed video. 38,000 views, 158 likes. It is easily by about 20,000 views my most popular video on YouTube. This guy comes on and comments. He says he finds it amazing that I would call it a bleach and not what it is, which is what do you call it, hydrochloride or something like that. And I said to him, well, the most important thing is the end result. Regardless of what I call it, people know what it is just by looking at the brand name Harpic. Surely it's the end result, how good it does, how good it cleans the exhausts. And he goes, and I said, you know, I'm glad you find it amazing. And he said, I find it amazing you're so thick. At that point there, if you're going to get personal with me, then it's game over. If you can't engage in a normal conversation without getting personal, then I don't want to chat with you. You're on a totally different plane to me, mate. So adios. So I blocked him. But I mean, I don't understand it. Just watch the video for what it is. The results are there. That's all you need to know. I could call it Harpic lemonade. It doesn't matter. No one's going to drink it. So I blocked that guy. But it's very rare I get people like that. But that's the thing. The more popular the channel gets, I think it was a troll. I think he was trolling me, trying to get a rise out of me, but I didn't bite. I just said, okay, thanks, you know, just whatever. Let him get on with it. And I just blocked him. So that's that. So let me tell you what's coming up. The new GoPro, the GoPro Hero 7 Black, looks very, very promising indeed. That hyper smooth looks really good. I've seen a couple of clips of guys using it on their helmet, and it's got that kind of time warp thing that they've added to it as well. It looks excellent with the hyper smooth. I think I'm going to get one. My old GoPro, I think I got the 4 or the 3, I'm not too sure, but the little screen, the LCD screen at the front is knackered. It's seen better days. I can't even see what's on the screen now because it's got a crack on it, and for some reason it always films upside down, so I have to flip it. It still works, but I would like an upgrade, and it will make the videos look slightly better when they're on the bike as well. Okay, whew, that is it. I think we're done, so keep an eye out for that video. That will be coming soon. What else has been happening? That is it. Yeah, so just crazy stuff with my mum. That's pretty much all over with now, and I'm so glad, because that is extremely, extremely stressful, and I hate not doing these videos. I like getting one out once a week or once every 2 weeks, but it's been, I think, over a month now since the last one. So thanks for sticking around. Thanks for all your positive comments. Thanks to all the new subscribers I've got in the last month as well. I think I've got about 4 or 5 new guys. Welcome. Thank you for coming aboard. And to the guy who left those negative remarks, I hope you feel better soon. Take it easy, guys. Alright, I'll see you soon. Adios. Bye.